Hi there. Thought I'd put together a tutorial. I often get lots of people who are getting into solar astronomy wanting to know how to use the software Avistack2. It can seem quite a daunting piece of software, certainly to begin with, but it really isn't. Okay, so I'm just opening it up, just following the instructions shown on screen. What I want to do with you today is just go on a bit of a walkthrough with the software and just show you a few of the things, certainly the ways I've certainly set it up. The great thing about Avistack is once it's set up, you can pretty much leave it as long as you don't start changing some variables. We'll go through things like that. Okay. Right, so a few things first. Let's have a little look at the interface. This one down here, parameters and settings, we're going to be using that. This is often what daunts people because we got really what seems like loads and loads of settings here. But the good news is most of these, in fact nearly all of them, we can use an automatic. Avistack's more than happy working with solar images like that. Okay, so a few things first. I am just going to put this on all manual, and what I'm going to do is talk through every stage of the process with you, okay, because some of these are I think relevant, some of them are not. Okay, and the other thing I'm also going to do is this one here where it says update display. I'm going to put that on none. That's one of the most key things with Avistack is to have this. So here we are in settings again, update display in none. The reason for that, if you don't, it will continually try to update, show you what it's doing on the screen. It absolutely eats through the memory on your processor. You're going to find things running really, really slowly. So we don't want that. We want it to get on with the job, get it done as quickly as possible, so we can start producing images. So I'll open up an image first of all. So top left there, add movies. Pulls up this window here. You can look for where you've put them. You've got the different drives obviously there. Mine live in the D drive as it happens. And there we go, in recent one, 16th of December. We've still got these avis on file, so we use these. I often prefer to use the thumbnails view, so click between the tab there, and there you go. We can see it pulls up the different ones. It's telling us different information on here. It's telling us the file name, which was telling me there when it was taken, the time and date. It's also telling me the size of the image, sometimes possibly useful if you're running different cameras saving to the same file. It tells me the file number and also the number of frames in the file. I'm going to use quite a small one for this because I want it to do what we're going to do quite quickly. So we'll use this one, number 4. That's got 500 frames, so that should do things. In fact, we'll use number 2. That should do things reasonably quickly. So click on that. That pulls up the file name there. There we go. We can see that there. And then the next stage, let's just check we're on manual. Yep, we're on manual for everything. That's good. We're going to click process file. So let's click on that. There we go. So first thing it's going to do is it's asking us how many frames do we want to use. So in this movie we've got 487 frames in total. How many of these 487 do we want to use in the final stack? Well, this is one of the key things I think in solar astronomy in terms of the images. I generally use around 1,000 frames, take avies of around 1,000 frames, and then generally stack 250 or 25% of them. If scene conditions are worse, you know, the image is boiling around on the screen, you want to take some more frames. Often the case then I may take 1,500, maybe even 2,000. You don't want to take too many because we're going to start getting temporal blur, motion blur on the screen. You know, the sun's has changed between the start of the avi and the end of the avi. We don't want to record in that because that's just going to start blurring the image. We want to keep our final image nice and sharp. So I don't know, 1,000, 2,000. Out of that, you might want to be keeping between 10 and 25%, something like that. So for the sake of what we're doing today, we can set in here. I'm going to put in 125. That's what 25.6% it's telling me there of the final frame. So I'm going to click calculate now. And what it's doing, it's going through, we can see in the top right up here, well, the top actually, it's going through each of those 487 frames, and it's calculating a quality value, okay, of how good that particular frame is. You may get a part where the scene's really blurry, and you know that frame isn't going to be as good as some of the adjacent frames. So it's working its way through. Here we go, 487, and what you can see here is on this list, it's worked its way through and it's picking out for me the best 125 frames. There we go. So the ones it likes, I've got a little green tick next to it. The ones it doesn't like have got the red cross. So we've selected that and we're going to click OK. There we go. So next thing it's asking me to do is it's asking for the alignment points. I find that Avistack does a great job itself of actually finding these alignment points. The only time I sometimes change them is if, for instance, it's a white light full disc and I may get it to hone in on the actual spot. Sometimes it just randomly picks a blank bit of disc. A couple of things we need to make sure we got checked. We need to make sure we got surface checked. We don't want planet. We're not doing a planet. A planet's looking for essentially something just a little bit larger than a point source. We want to make sure we got surface checked. I don't change these. I've got the value set here on 2464. It's found that itself through I don't know how it finds it, but it's found it anyway. I just leave it as is. This one here, it's use flat and dark for processing. You can apply a flat and dark to Avistack. I'm not got any flats or darks at the moment on file, but that'll be another video tutorial. I think a little bit more complicated with that. Once you've done it a few times, it's straightforward. So I've got that checked. It's not going to pull any up because there aren't any, but I've got that checked anyway. So we're going to click OK. What it's doing now is it's aligning them. You'll notice here, there we go, the update display button is not on. If that's ticked, it's going to go really slow. You want that unchecked. Right, now it's going to pull up a load of graphs here. Okay, it's telling us how much, loads of things which I'm not sure bother me too much, how much deviation, how much movement there is between each frame, you know, all this, it's all fairly arbitrary stuff that's telling you the drift, things like that. We can see there's quite a lot of drift going on in the X direction there, not as much going on in the Y direction. All relatively irrelevant. Just click OK. Let's follow this through. There we go. Another one. Frame align movie. Just click OK. It's asking us the region of interest we want. We want 100%. Okay. Just click OK. Follow it through. Region of interest selection. If I wanted to, I could draw a box round and just do a particular part. I want it to do the whole image, so I'm going to click OK. Like that. It then comes up with reference points. I've got this just set in itself. It seems to know what it's doing. You know, it pulls up this gloriously colourful picture of the sun here, and you can see the little dots, little crosses there, the reference points. I just click OK. This is what you do in the first time you're setting up Avistack. So here you can see it's broken it up into these these different polyhedra like this, and each polyhedra has a series of reference points within it. Again, noise reduction and quality area size, I've just left that to Avistack. Seems to do absolutely fine to me on its own. So click OK. There we go, it's going to do a quality analysis. Update display is unchecked. Make sure that's unchecked, that's really key. It really goes slow. Okay, there we go. Another, give me another graph telling me, you know, I'm not sure what it's telling me, but hey ho. Click OK. Quality sorted movie. I click OK. Parameters, again, all these it set itself. Yeah. Automatic search radius, I'm clicking OK. It's aligning. Update display is unchecked. This is key. Remember that. Yeah. Make sure that is not ticked. I'm not even going to tick it, believe me, it goes really slow if it's ticked. Gives me another graph. Gonna click OK. Do I want this is when it's doing the stacking process now. I can, if I have them, apply flat fields and dark frames. I haven't got any for this particular set of data, so I've got no flat field, no dark frame checked. I'm going to click OK. Here we go, it does its stacking again, update display. I'm going to keep on about this, but it's important, is unchecked. There we go. Now, key one here, we can do a few different things. Right, I think this is important. If you wanted to, you can change the angle at which it's rotated, the final image. Is it flipped? Extract minimum area. This is a really crucial one. Okay, I want to explain a bit about this. Right, let's maximize this window as much as we can, so you can see what's going on here. Okay, there we go. Right, you can see with this image there is the whole frame to the edge round here, like so, and you've got this inner frame here with this white border. What this refers to, maximum is obviously the full frame. This minimum area is this white border. Now, why, you may say, would I want to stack that when I could be stacking that? Because on certainly some images you'll have images of sun there. Well, what you find is in this area here, this periphery, this perimeter, here it's not using the full 125 frames of data to stack the image. So you can't really see on the screen here, but if we really started zooming in, what you might start seeing is what you will start seeing is this area here is a lot noisier. The signal to noise ratio is a lot poorer, and often I see this on people's images on the forums, on the internet. The edge of the image is decidedly noisy and people crop it out. No need to do that. We can set this to extract minimum area, okay, which is what I want it to do. Really, really important. Can't stress how important that is to set to minimum area. Next thing, we've got a couple of file types we can save here. It's entirely up to you. I tend to avoid JPEGs personally, but I'm saving a FITS file here. You can change your bit depth if you want to. Okay, I've got it running to 16 bits there, and then there's the where we're going to save it. We got the file directory. Do we want to put a suffix on it? We could do if we wanted to. Where's it going to? Save parameters. I always tend to save the parameters, so I don't have to keep setting them each time. So, recap on this one quickly. Minimum area is the most important. 16-bit depth. If it's not on 16-bit depth when you come to process it, you're going to find it's quite noisy when you start stretching the image, applying say sharpening to it, maybe messing with the gamma settings of the image in post-processing. So make sure it's 16-bit. You could here save it to a TIFF. As I say, I've got it to FITS. I think I've got the next stage. Save to a TIFF. So I'm going to click save. There we go. It's saved an image of that there. I'm going to click close. It's closed it. Post-processing workflow. This is where you can, if you want to, use the wavelets in Avistack. Personally, I don't like them. Personally, I don't like wavelets, be it in Registax or Avistack. I much prefer the control that we get in Photoshop CS4. Although to a beginner, unless you are really you really know what you're doing with Photoshop or whatever post-processing software you're using, I'd possibly stick to the wavelets. I don't use them. I'm not going to cover them. Okay, I'm afraid. Sorry. So we click OK. It's a case of following it through. Here we go again. So it's saving a processed image. Same setup, exact same window as before. Rotation, flipping, minimum area. Make sure that minimum area is checked. Again, I can't stress the importance of that. And here I'm saving a TIFF file at 16-bit depth. Okay. So let's click save. There we go. It's going to save that for me. Just click save. Click close. and hey presto, it's done. Right, so that's the setup that you would go through the first time you are using Avistack. Okay, that's all good and well. What happens to the next time and subsequent times that we want to use Avistack? Well, really easy, really easy. Let's get rid of this file here. That was number 2. Just remember I'm using that one. So delete that. So I've highlighted it. Click delete. I've still got this one up here. I reckon it's going to make me restart Avistack here, but let's try and see what happens. Let's do, for instance, for argument's sake, we'll do number 1 because it's going to be nice and quick. It's only got 254 like that. Okay. I'm going to go settings, processing. I'm going to click it on all automatic. Okay, and it's going to do this itself now. There we go, and let's have a look. Active frames 125 there. Okay, let's select that. Process file. There we go. And what it should do now, we'll let this work its way through. It's doing all this what it did before, but it's doing it on its own. It's doing it automatically. It's looked at the 254 frames that's in this movie, and it's picking out. There we go. We can see the best 125. Update display isn't checked. Really important. And you can see here if we. There we go. It's gradually working its way down here. You'll see these little file routes open and close. There we go. Again, update display isn't checked. If this is taking forever, it's because you've got update display checked. Make sure it's unchecked. Okay, so we just run that on automatic. Right, so frame stacking goes through really quite quickly at this point. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller here. We don't need it quite so big. There we go, and it's done. It saved an image. And if we look in our file, our root file, let's have a little look here. Go on details. Let's get these sorted by date. Here we go. We can see them up the top here. So this is the last one it did with the 125. Not a great image, but again, these were taken through PST photo tripod through clouds, pretty much near the solstice. Right, so we've got that there. All good and well, you might say. What happens if now? Let's get rid of this one. We don't want this image anymore. What happens now, for instance, if you say, well, actually, I want to stack more than 125. I want to stack 250, for instance. Well, really easy. Let's show you how to do that. So frame selection, I'm going to select that. I'm going to put that on manual. There we go. Like that. And then I'm going to open a file again, and let's pick a different one this time, something a bit larger. We'll go for this one, number 6. That's got 809 frames in it. We'll open that up. There we go. That's a manual, as we can see. So we'll click process file. There we go. It's detecting them. Seems to do it in batches of 20 at a time, working its way through, and it should any moment now. There we go. It stops. Right. So if we want to change our 125, let's say we want to make it less noisier, which is always a good thing. I'm going to do 250. I quite like that number. I find less than 250 can start getting a little bit noisy. More than 250 can be better. Can sometimes get blur, particularly in the higher focal length shots. Although a full disc won't be an issue. Okay, so 250. Going to click calculate again. It's going to calculate the quality of these 808 frames. Does it about 10 frames at a time. I think one of these, it's all processor dependent. If you've got a nice fast processor, multiple core, you're going to find it flies through something like this. But for my bog standard laptop, it chugs through about 10 frames, 8 to 10 frames a time. So we'll just let it do its thing for a moment. It's telling us how long we've got left up here. It's quite good for this Avistack is. I've got 10 seconds left. Tells me how long it's going to take in total, 43 seconds. It's pretty good, it's pretty accurate at things like that. So There we go. We can see here, if we scroll down this list, it's picked the ones it likes. There we go. It looks like the end of this movie was more preferential to the start. So we click OK, like that. And then now, if you notice, it's all back on automatic again. So we'll just move this out of the way so we can see multiple windows at once, so you can see what's going on. It's just working its way through, and you'll see here. There we go, going through the different stages, all automatic. What I've found is it tends to vary these as it goes along. Sometimes I just leave it on automatic. It's no problem. Okay, so let it do that. Reference point alignment, a little bit slower on this one, 4 frames at a time, so it's going to take 16 seconds, 17 seconds to do, thereabouts. But it's not too long, it's pretty quick. Avistack is. Like so. Just let it do its bit. Processor fans coming on now, it's having a good think. It's updating it again, doesn't take too long at all. Just stacking the frames now. There we go, saved them, done. Right, so let's delete that file. Say we come along again, I'm not going to run you through another one, but all you do, if you wanted your 250 frames selected, we put it on automatic, like that. And then the next time, let's have a look, find another one very quickly, it's not got many on it. So look, let's do this one, number 5, 4, 5, 6, not a best Avi. But all you do now, load it, it's all on automatic on there, press process file, it flies through it like that. 10 at a time, it's working its way through. It's calculating the quality here. It's going to pull me out the best 250 out of those 456 frames, and then do its magic with them, align them, stack them. There we go. It's not a great Avi at all, this. As I say, it's taken pretty much near the solstice, through clouds, through trees, standard PST on a photo tripod, about as straightforward a setup as you're going to get. It obviously can't find 250 good frames there based on its quality. It's come up with 226. You'll find it does that sometimes. It's not a problem. It's getting the best out of it as what it can. So it's just aligning. Again, update display is not checked. Don't check update display. If it is checked, this screen here is going to be flying around. Lots of things happening on it. We don't want that at all. It just makes it run slow. I've also found with Avistack I can quite happily run other programs in the background. You know, when I'm talking large things, I can run Photoshop, I can run web browsers while it's processing away. Okay, so let's do its frame stacking. It's not going to take very many seconds at all. There we go, and it's done. Really straightforward. I hope it's useful. I'll try and follow this up with some on auto stack it. Also try and follow it up with looking at batch processing, and also use of flat frame and dark frame. Well, I definitely need to get a little bit more data for that. Okay, thanks again. Thank you.